I tried touching everything when I was growing up. My mother and grandmother would always give me a little smack on the hand whenever I was being too nosy or curious, or if my little chubby hands were getting too close to something too dangerous. The two of them, my grandmother especially, spent a lot of their time in the kitchen cooking. I would always come home from school when I was little, and every afternoon the house either looked different or smelled different. If I saw long wooden dowels being set up, I knew she was making noodles. If I smelled carrots and onions, I knew she was making oxtail soup. And if I heard a lot of slapping, she was ready to make some meat. I was never allowed to actually help them though. I couldn't hang the noodles, I couldn't stir the pot, and I couldn't touch raw meat. I was always told jokingly, "You have 3 sisters who can cook for you. Focus on your studies and get a good job." And I listened, most of the time. I had my first job when I was 13. I was working at a clinic to combat against AAPI sexual and mental health issues. I then went on to organize against housing discrimination in Chinatown and the Lower East Side. I somehow ended up in the corporate life at a real estate investment bank, and then I moved on to Bloomberg LP and even had an opportunity at an insurance company. They were all fantastic experiences, and I loved each experience that I've had and the privilege that I had to work at each location. But something was missing. I felt like I needed to do something more, something with my hands. I was always pretty jealous of people who could draw or play an instrument. Really, anyone who had the ability to create art with their hands, I was envious of. One day I found myself in the office. I got up from my lunch break and I went to my boss's office and quit. A week later, I found myself in the kitchen. I was working in a Japanese cafe learning how to cook. Advertising and cooking are very similar. For both, you have to pay attention to who you're creating for. You have to understand how your presentation affects your final piece of work just as much as your content. You have to ensure that your audience understands what they're consuming, and it always takes a lot of work to get it right. But when you do, and people love it, it's so rewarding and fulfilling. Hey MAIP, so that was the first time I've ever recorded, edited, or started my own video. Regardless of all my experiences, I know that I'm still growing as a person and a young professional. Despite not having any advertising experience, I know I have the diligence and drive to learn, create, and grow with MAIP. I wanted to thank you guys again for this opportunity, and I also wanted to let you know that I'm actually studying in Hong Kong until December 26th of this year. I hope to hear from you guys soon. Bye!